ఇది ఏం లేదు, ఇది ఫేస్బుక్ లో దాంట్లో నుంచి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది, ఎవడోడు విని తయారవుతాం.
This conference will now be recorded.
అదే ఏంటంటే నా చిన్నప్పుడు ఎండాకాలమే జ్ఞాపకం. రోజు 6 కొట్టంగానే పోయి గుళ్ళో కూర్చుంటాం. నెల రోజులు హరికథ, ఈ పిట్టల కథ ఏదో ఒకటి ఉంటుండే. దాని గురించి సత్యహరిచంద్ర కథ అని అట్లా. ఇప్పుడు
we are live to the world, Anna. We are live to the world, both YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah,
Anna.
yeah, no serious.
Yeah. Yes, Anna. Welcome to Dr. TSPR show. This is Dr. Tangella Shivaprasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello. మా అతిథులు గురువులు ప్రొఫెసర్ పురుషోత్తం రెడ్డి గారు, అదేవిధంగా గురుతుల్యులు సుబ్బారావు గారు. ఇద్దరి ఆశీర్వాదం నాకు తెలిసి నాకన్నా ఎక్కువ ఎవరికి ఉండదు ఈరోజు. పక్కా those who are weaving, you will, at the end of the show, you will say, I am eternally blessed by both my gurus. Such a topic which is very, very close to their heart. With this topic, they have revolutionized the spirit of leading a normal, eco-friendly life. I say, why should I say human? We are all humans. We are all mammals. We should know how to live in a coexistential conditions. I'll just give a brief 1-minute introduction. This is December 2nd, everyone say, is a National Pollution Day, and that is the day when many innocents lost their lives in their sleep. But my guru, Professor Purushotham Reddy garu corrected me, stating that this happened in the wee hours of 2nd. That means already we were into 3rd December. So that is why he specifically asked me to post this live show to 3rd December, and that is why we have done this with the official grace of my Guru Tulyulu Subbarao garu. National Pollution Prevention Day is observed annually on December 2nd, but it is 3rd, in memory of the people who lost their lives in the 1984 Bhopal gas tragedy. The horrific industrial accident took place due to the leak of methyl isocyanate gas in the Union Carbide India Limited (UCIL) pesticide plant on the night of December 2nd and 3rd. Thousands of people were killed due to the toxic gas spread. Bhopal gas tragedy is said to be one of the world's worst industrial disasters to date. The after effects of the tragedy were also very severe, as increased cases of cancer and birth defects were reported. Here is all you need to know about the day. That is why we are not celebrating this. We are observing a moment's silence for those departed souls and their families in mourning, and all those unfortunate who have survived, who are still suffering with medical or other defects as on today. So, to express solidarity with them, this day is celebrated. Not only that, this has revived the spirit of my guru, and that is how they went on changing the understanding of a normal human being towards nature, and what is to breathe, and what are those pollutants, like we have already seen methyl. The Bhopal gas tragedy showed that the pollution and presence of toxic gases in the environment can be hazardous. Hence, the day is not only observed in honor of people who lost their lives in the deadly tragedy, but also to spread awareness on managing and controlling industrial disasters, preventing the pollution produced by industrial processes or human negligence. The day is observed to make people and industries understand the importance of pollution control acts. The day also aims to spread awareness about the prevention of natural resources like air, soil, noise, and water pollution. So that is the reason why we are back with this live show. We talk about the bomb which was dropped by US in Japan. This incident is no lesser in spirit and in the colossal damage which has inflicted on the Indian populace, whether it is Madhya Pradesh, Bhopal, or now every city, every town almost engulfed with such pollutants. So, we straight away get into this topic. Sir, Subbarao gar, please.
Namaskaram. Good evening to everybody. And deep condolences to the families of those who fell victim to the gas tragedy on 2nd early hours of December 1980. I strongly believe that there are three shocking incidents that happened on this earth, which no common man dreamt of. One was the Hiroshima-Nagasaki bombing. The second was the war on Vietnam. No farmer in the Vietnam dreamt that the war will break for decades. And the third India experience is the Bhopal gas tragedy. It was a shock. And I was so worried. I was calling my friends, my colleagues who were transferred from Nagpur to Bhopal, asking them about their welfare. And India was very poorly equipped. And it is not that it is equipped so well today. It is still worse. One can understand the soil contamination, water contamination, but it is very difficult to understand the dynamics of air contamination. You do not know. It originates at a spot and disperses in the entire watershed. It follows a reversal trend of the water. Water, it falls in a watershed area, collects together, and joins a stream or a lake. It is very easy. Visually, you can see, you can track. But air pollution, dispersal, and dynamics is not that easy. Even after so many decades, the scientists in this country and the pollution control board authorities in this country totally failed in coming out with airshed studies, scientific studies. Hyderabad, I know almost 22 residential communities are facing the severe toxic gas problems. Right from west to almost southwest of Hyderabad, that is from Bachupalli to Nalaganda. It's horrible. But the whole problem is whenever people make complaint, the pollution control board people come and say, oh, today wind is not in this direction. Tomorrow it may go on the other direction. Let's say layman's excuse. And today the Delhi is in the grip of air pollution. Hyderabad is in air pollution. So 30 years back we were only talking on soil pollution and water pollution. Today the severity is so much that the younger generation is almost exposed to disastrous toxic gases. The sales of the inhalers is going like anything and making good business for the pharmaceutical industry. You cannot afford to go for a run. You cannot afford to go for a walk. You cannot afford to give any kind of exercises to your lungs. This is the fate of 21st century in this country. And this incident happened when the rest of the world, the advanced countries, which were trying to rectify the things, and we were at the scratch, even now. So how do we go about it? It's a big tragedy, and the challenge is, can we minimize, regulate, and control the pollution? particularly the air pollution. It's a big challenge. I'm sure, I'm very confident, I can say very confidently that none of the academic institutions in this country came forward with any kind of new subject, new curriculum in this direction. Today, I thank my teacher, Professor Rosenthal from Cornell University. I had the opportunity of attending this short course on industrial ecology. Understanding and application of biological sciences, ecological sciences to the industrial operations. Unfortunately, he died at a very premature age, but his contributions in the area of industrial ecology is enormous. I wonder why the academic institutions, particularly I'm very sad about the universities like Osmania University, wherein almost 400 pharmaceuticals are, surrounded by the campus. And we do not have any, even a short-term course or a one-day course on what is the, pollution control, what is the waste management, how do we recognize the toxicity of a, industrial waste product? No, nothing. Then why the hell we are producing so many professors, readers, and all kinds of faculty members? There is a need. Now, how do we go into it? There is a need for convergence to bring a sustainable. We need to bring people on policy aspects, on industrial application. We are also good in pharma education. We export, I think, something like 200 to 3 pharma students to ISA, but we do not have a subject called pharma-based management. Do we have that? It is shame. All the professors in the university must be hanged or put them into the 14-year jail. That's it. When we are not able to come out with a curriculum which challenges the survival of the future generation, what is the use of this academic institutions? And government, day in, day out, is killing the public sector education systems and promoting the mushroom growth of private industries, which talk nonsense, which do not have a qualified person in their faculty. And today we are talking and National Pollution Day. I don't think that anybody made any big dent today speaking on this. Even in the parliament, I don't think they were only bothered about do you buy my rice or shall I buy rice? They do not have even the assessment of the volume of FCI go downs in the state. And what is the use of all these policy makers and ministers? It's a very tragedy. I feel very sad that my progeny is stepping into a toxic atmosphere where the politicians are only worried about making money and selling the public properties, making crores of rupees. Who give them the the permission for this item? After the Bhopal, it is Hyderabad, the toxic chamber. If this government has any commitment and willingness, it should address the situations of toxic chamber. This state, under the ground, on the ground, above the ground, in the atmosphere, everything is toxic. We are surviving, inshallah, by the grace of the God. Nothing else. We do not have specialized doctors. In my young days, we used to always remember of Bokal Ranga Reddy. He was the only specialist of sports, injuries. Today, you do not have any medical fraternity who can tell confidently that I will address the pollution related issues. I can talk about pollution related. This was the situation last 30, 35 years. We do not have a, like even Patiala, you have a special quota for the sports persons on sports medicine. Why can't we have a special quota in the medical education system on pollution related and genetic related due to pollution induction? No, the same old thing. పారాసిటమాల్ వేసుకో నీకు కరోనా పోతుంది ఇంకోటి పోతుంది అన్ని ఇట్లా చెప్పేటోళ్ళే ఉంటుంది. వీఆర్ నాట్ లుకింగ్. In fact, I do not want to take much time on my grievances and giving out the fact sheet of this sad situation of this. I have come up with what could be the alternatives, but I would like to make that after my big brother Anna, Professor K.Purushotham Reddy, expresses his concern on this day of national pollution.
So thank you so much, Subbarao garu. Actually, I came into this subject after the Bhopal gas disaster. Exactly about 3 weeks after. What happened in Bhopal can be described as a slap on the face of all developing countries in the world. That particular industry was a multinational corporation, MNC. Those days, they were known as the multinational corporations. Today, they are known as the transnational corporations, TNC. Now, this industry, which was located in Bhopal, I had the opportunity of visiting that area in 1985 when there was a national seminar organized in Bhopal itself in the aftermath of Bhopal gas disaster. And we took that route from the factory to the Bhopal railway station. And the local people, everybody was media, everyone, they were showing us the devastation that it caused. What happened on that particular night, that is second night, early hours of third, after 12 o'clock, when the gas started leaking. Normally, we tend to use certain words. For example, the Indian media, they said it was an accident. They say, Bhopal was an accident with the gas leak, accidental gas leak. But nobody knows whether it was a gas leak or whether it was a test done on the Indian population. Because we Indians are most often treated as guinea pigs when it comes to the testing of so many things, including vaccines. So when the gas leaked out, and this particular gas, MIC, methyl isocyanate, being a heavy gas, when it leaked out by virtue of its heaviness, it did not go up because it was not light, because it was heavy. It started moving depending upon the wind direction from the factory, from that particular industry towards the Bhopal railway station. And I'm very sorry to say that even the passengers waiting in Bhopal railway station to catch an early morning flight, maybe 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, the early flights, the trains, they also died. Many of them died in their sleep. But it was, a horrendous tragedy. I still remember the face that sensitized the world. It was the face of a baby, hardly 1 year or so. And it was the eyes of the baby had swollen, they had come out virtually. And that was the face which, which symbolized the tragedy, the horrendous tragedy. Well, what happened in Bhopal, I don't think we can call it a tragedy, though occasionally we tend to use such words. But it can be described as the world's worst industrial accident or disaster. It is the world's worst industrial disaster which occurred in India. Now, 1984, when we look at that particular year, by 1984, India had already the Prevention of Water Pollution Act. After Stockholm 1972 conference, which was attended by Mrs. Indira Gandhi, and Madam Gandhi was there for all the 5 days as India's Prime Minister. She gave the keynote address, and when the Prime Minister returned to India, immediately a parliamentary committee was constituted for the purpose of drafting the Prevention of Water Pollution Act. That committee, which was headed by Mr. Mohan Daria to begin with, subsequently Mr. Krishna Kant, he chaired that particular committee, and they did a great job, and they drafted what is known as the Water Act. In other words, they drafted the bill. When enacted, it came out with the title known as the Water Act. In fact, it is known as the Prevention of Water Pollution Act 1974. And based on the provisions of the Water Act, pollution control boards came to be organized in this country 1976. And 5 years later, the Prevention of Air Pollution Act came into being, 1981. It is known as the Air Act of 1981, but actually it is the Prevention of Air Pollution Act. So by 1984, India had the Prevention of Water Pollution Act, it had the Prevention of Air Pollution Act, and they had created the regulatory bodies, that is the pollution control boards. They were very much in operation. Now the question is, that is, we had the laws, we also had the regulatory authorities. Now what were the regulatory authorities doing? What is the role of the pollution control board? As the very name indicates, if the board was effective, if the board did their job, how come such an accident takes place? Okay, was there an EIA done for Union Carbide? 4,000 people died within 2 hours, and more than 300,000 people were affected in so many ways. It was the biggest collective murder which can take place in the event of an industrial accident. Now I would like to ask, and the nation wants to know, how many people were arrested? How many were prosecuted under Section 302? Was anybody arrested under that particular section? This is one country where we have the laws, we have the regulatory board, and the government pledges to protect its people within the country. And one particular foreign multinational corporation, here the issue is not local or foreign, one particular industry releases toxic fumes and thousands of people are dead and gone. And the irony is, when the chairman of the Union Carbide, when Mr. I think is Warren, he came, he was received and seen off by the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. How can a criminal be? I mean, this is something, the biggest tragedy takes place, and he comes like a VVIP. And a local Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh who considers himself as a VIP. They go, they receive him, and then he is taken around for a few hours, and thereafter he leaves. The biggest question is, why was he not arrested? What happened to the due process of law? Do we have a constitution or not? No, he was, all that, the only thing that the chairman of Union Carbide did was that he simply fixed his signature. And he is on a document which says that he will pay whatever the compensation the Supreme Court fixes in this country. And the case went on and on and on and on for years together, and finally some Naam ke vaste compensation was fixed. And it's a big mockery. It's a mockery, where human rights were violated, environmental laws were flouted, regulatory authorities were debunked, and nobody was punished. This is Bhopal. For years together, people suffered. The case became international. What about here? The big question is, when I'm talking as a political scientist, what is the stamina of the local people? Any citizen in this country, what do you think will be the stamina? How long can they fight? And particularly in a country like India, where there is so much of diversity in the name of religion and caste and language and region, people coming together to make a common cause, wage a common struggle, that itself is something very difficult. But still, in the case of Bhopal, people came together, they filed cases, and everything, the entire judiciary in this country, they simply gave lip sympathy and a token compensation. Now, again, there are umpteen number of Supreme Court judgments which say that compensation cannot be fictitious. But in the case of Bhopal, it was fictitious. Naam ke vaste. And that too, justice delayed. We all know that it is justice denied. It happened in Bhopal. Okay, now let us stop this at this stage. We go a little further. 2 years later, this country enacted the prevention of, it is known as the Environment Act of 1986. That is Protection of Environment Act, 1986. Now the question is whether we the people, when I say we, it is the people and the polity, the government and Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, judiciary, whether we have learnt any lessons. What is the big lesson that we learned? The only step that the government of India did was it came up with a comprehensive Environment EP Act of 1986. Okay. After that particular act should have been followed by constituting the Environment Protection Authority. Now, I would like to ask the government of India, of course, right from 1986 to present day, all kinds of political combinations, came to power at the center. We had UPA, NDA, and we had, neither UPA nor NDA, individual groups coming together, forming, like Chandrasekhar, like, K.Purushotham, Deve Gowda, and so on. Now, the big question is, why did they not constitute the Environment Protection Authority? That is the big question that I'm asking. The people of this country would like to know. Even, neither UPA did it nor NDA did it. What does it mean? As a political scientist, I am saying that the government succumbed to the pressure of the corporates. They have to explain. As a citizen, I am raising certain issues. It is for the political parties to answer. The pity in this country, the tragedy in this country, is that none of the Indian political parties are committed to the protection of environment and people. It's an open challenge. They have never pledged in their manifestos that they shall protect the people against industrial pollution. On the other hand, every political party talks about the ease of doing business. What is this? The ease of doing business. Political parties are at the mercy. They are willing to serve the corporates. They are more interested in ensuring that the corporates shall do their business with ease. They are not bothered to ensure that the people in this country live comfortably and with ease. So, how do we compel the political parties to become people-friendly and environment-friendly? This cannot happen unless there is a major paradigm shift. And political parties in this country right now, I'm talking about the whole range of political parties, from extreme right to extreme left. They have become redundant. They have no ideology, no commitment. They have never pledged that they will protect the environment, and they continue to commit the same mistakes. That is why in this country, at periodic intervals, what happened in Visakhapatnam last year, not even 1 year ago, there was a gas leak and about 8 people died. That is, many Bhopal disasters are happening throughout the length and breadth of the country. Some are reported, some are not. In Hyderabad city itself, Hyderabad is the seat of so many chemical industries. Thanks to IDPL, where a public sector undertaking, it became a wonderful place where R&D was developed on different pharmaceutical combinations and processes. Several people who worked there came out, established independent industries on their own, along with the support of financial agencies. And Hyderabad industries have been polluting left and right. The city is encircled by poison. Right from which I remember we were the first victims, in Saramnagar. After that, Nacharam, Osmania University students and faculty members, they had complained. And then we go to Jedimatla. Jedimatla is supposed to be in India's one of the biggest small-scale industrial area, where you have hundreds of chemical and pharmaceutical industries. And till say about 1987, 89, 90 also, there was nothing like pollution effluent treatments. And because of the public pressure, they went in for common effluent treatment plants. God alone knows to what extent they are functional. Many a time we have been raising the issue that a common EDP will never be able to treat the effluents to the desired levels. But then common EDPs got replicated in Bolaram and Patancheru. And not only this, we have the TSDF, common facility to dump and so-called storage of hazardous waste. And all these facilities were only created to show to the judiciary that the Hyderabad chemical industry is responding to public pressure and it is functioning as per the environmental laws. Now the question is, right now, as my friend Subarowji had pointed out, there are so many colonies which are and gated communities and slums, which every day they breathe toxic air. And Hyderabad, all the effluents goes into all the nalas and ultimately Mosi. And Mosi itself, as the recent observation of the Chief Justice of the Telangana High Court made it very clear. In fact, he unfortunately thought, as reported in the paper, that when he asked to be shown the river Mosi, and when it was shown to him, he said that he thought it was a nala, a wastewater, effluent water flow, a stream carrying all the poison, toxic water. So that is the level of the river Mosi. And this city is once again committing the same mistakes. There is no long-term planning. And I am not talking about Hyderabad alone. Show me one river in this country which can be described as being clean. The entire country is seeped in poison. In addition to this, as if this is not enough, a highly dangerous and toxic chemicalized agriculture has been promoted in the name of a respectable name like Green Revolution. And today, the whole land of India has been completely poisoned. I do not know, as we go into the future, we only see the emerging morbidity profile of like what we see in Punjab. We see cancer trains carrying cancer patients from one city to another city. And these patients, they go there for radiotherapy and treatment, radiation and therapy, and they return once again in the evening. That is, should we be happy that we are able to run trains to take the cancer patients? Or should we hold our heads in shame that our agricultural model has only resulted in an ever-increasing number of cancer patients? Now, who is responsible for all this? We, the people, are paying a very heavy price for electing ignorant people. Our MPs and, the kind of governments that we have, they have no knowledge, no commitment. And even now, when we look at what happened at COP26, our Prime Minister very comfortably, leisurely talks about a net zero, achieving net zero 50 years down the line. 50 years down the line, look at the leisure of the government of India. And ruling party members are never tired of praising the Prime Minister. And at the regional level, there is not a single chief minister who has really clearly committed, their political party and their government with an intention to bring net zero. The same old model of thermal power plants and gas-based internal combustion machines, natural gas, everything is continuing and it will continue because we, the people, are not exerting pressure. This country will be like this because, people have withdrawn, they are not bothered, they don't make it an election issue. And at the time of elections, as we have seen in Hyderabad recently, what a shame. The voters were demanding 6,000 rupees officially. They staged a dharna demanding 6,000. And nobody was punished. What is the message that the Election Commission is giving to the people in this country? That is, anybody can openly demand, openly bargain for the pious job of voting or participating in the polling on the voting day. I don't know where we are heading, but I'm very sorry. My heart goes to the thousands of people who died on December 2nd night, 3rd morning, and to lakhs of people who were affected in so many ways. Many people lost their eyesight, their breathing tract, their lungs were affected, they had skin problems. That is, whichever part of the body was exposed to the deadly poisonous methyl isocyanate, a derivative of cyanide, you can imagine their trauma. And, lakhs of people were affected. And the irony in this country is not one person was prosecuted. What does it mean? The entire legal system of India has to answer. Everybody, I'm asking this question, come on, right from the Chief Justice, Supreme Court, to the law college professors in this country. Are we an independent country? Is the Constitution a product of, as a teacher of political science, I always give lectures and feel proud that the first 3 words of the Constitution, we the people. And I think it is we the people who made the Constitution. We are supreme. All this has been proved to the negative by the authorities, the legislature, executive and judiciary, collectively. In fact, we can say that the polity of India has let the people of India down. I request Subbarao ji to please carry on.
Thank you so much, Anna. But what to carry, where to carry is a big question. We are living in a society where majority are deaf, dumb, and blind. Okay. That is the major question. So I request Shiv Prasad Reddy to share this screen. It reminds me, after the Bhopal gas tragedy, one of my students, he is a fine arts student, Sajid Amir Pin, he was doing wonderful job. And he transformed my idea into a poster, Bhopal gas tragedy. I would like to share that.
Yeah, please.
So can you see, Anna? Hello? Hello?
Yes,
We
sir.
can see, Anna.
Yes, sir.
You can see?
Yeah.
We can see, it's nice.
Pollution, yes, can be minimized and reduced, controlled if we have the commitment and willingness. If we have the guts to identify people who have, courage to, implement such policies and otherwise we live with this pathetic face. Hope you can see.
Yeah.
Purushottam Reddy Garu was explaining this baby's picture. You remember, Anna?
Yes, yes, I
The
remember.
popped up eyes, a dead body of a, uh, I think 1 or 2 years old baby. So that made me, when everybody was talking, environment is the industrial pollution, environment is, planting the trees. So my friend helped me, to bring out a comprehensive illustration that environment is the story of everything. So this reminds me always whenever I see this poster, this baby comes to my mind. Yeah, you see, when we talk of, this happened that today we are the victims of industrial air pollution. But we have pollution everywhere. How do we? Unfortunate thing is, this country miserably failed from public toilets to industrial gases, cleaning the lakes to cleaning the rivers. So I feel it is the mindset of the people and the policy makers is highly contaminated and polluted. So unless and until we find a mechanism to clean their brains, it's not possible. Okay. But simple thing, when I look at pollution entire thing, you see anything, whatever we do, even in the kitchen, we produce some so-called waste. Okay. But when this waste, to what extent we are doing it, the basic principles are, we need to look into the degree of toxicity of the waste that is being number one. We do not have that. Number two is, okay, degree of toxicity and degree of mobility. What kind of a particle is this? Does it dissolve in the water? Does it go into the air as a particulate matter, or does it sink into the soil? These are the basic principles. Unfortunately, our so-called scientists sitting in the CHR labs and universities, they make much more complex these cities. They never make things, simplified, demystified, okay, so that they can encourage, motivate students to do this. And okay, everybody talks recycle means what to recycle, what to recycle. Eco initiative. This is what Professor Rosenthal promoted way back in, I think, mid-70s and all. You see, if you look at a plant, um, it has a root system which supplies the food. It has the leaves. So you learn applied ecological principles to industrial symbiosis. How do we look at industrial symbiosis? The major problem with Indian industrial development is we were in so hurry to make money, we are spending more money to repeat our expense. We have developed long back real estates for industries to come up. Okay, there was a very classic study I did in Patancheru, barium chemicals industry. On the one side you had the precision tools, on the other side you have cellulose. And the barium chemicals, it used to release fine dust. The precision making tools fellow, he needs a lot of sunlight and air. He could not open it because he was committing errors in making the precision tool. Industry was closed. The other fellow, cellulose, he was creating a lot of, generating a lot of effluents, so mosquito breeding. So we do not know how do we design and how do we promote an industrial park. It is something like it, something like a right to bazaar we developed. Right to bazaar also much better because you have on one side leafy vegetables on other sides. Assess the degree of toxicity and recycle. Inventory stage. When it enters into the factory, this must be the first principle. Replace with suitable environment friendly materials. Upgrade your research right from the inventory feedback. Upgrade the process technology. Focus recovery of material and energy. These are most important thing. It's not that industry is something, you do, okay, this is the, industrial. Even a country like Thailand has it's mandatory that all the industries must have roof water harvesting structures and they must harvest their own water for their use. And even in the USA, you have the rainwater harvesting is mandatory. None of the industrial estates in this country have that. On the other hand, they have contaminated and depleted the groundwater resources around 20 to 25 square kilometers of any industrial estate in this. I have the records I can show. And they have also contaminated, and still they demand they want fresh waters. God knows why government, you know. So when we look at an industry, this is an Kullenborg eco-industrial park, where the waste from one industry goes to the raw material to the other industry, and it has a symbiosis. Industries have to come together for a convergence. And the most, exciting inspiration thing I saw in Taha Industrial Estate in USA, where the gas turbine receives the industrial municipal untreated water, and it treats the municipal water and uses for cooling the turbine. Here in my good city Hyderabad, industry has common effluent treatment. Right? Industry has treatment plant. Municipality has the treatment plant. Still the water is dirty. What a funny situation we are finding. And my honorable municipal minister says we are putting up another 33. Did we assess the performance levels of STPs, ETPs in Hyderabad and around Hyderabad? Is anybody asking for that? How much of power these water treatment systems go? So we need to look into it. You see, industry, it has its own symbiosis. It has its own interdependence. How a hot water generated from one industry can waste heat recovery. I think it is only one commercial establishment in Hyderabad which is adopting waste heat recovery. Okay, so there is a long way to go. And tell me, which is the university which is teaching the short-term course on waste heat recovery? None of them. Okay, they only get UGC grants. I know some of the universities, and they claim they come out with a goody projects and some products. This is, I'm so much moved and impressed. This is a Devon's, a dust-free stone crushing unit, generates only 1% of the dust. I brought nozzles and gave it to PCB. Ask them to produce them and make it mandatory for all the crushing units of then combined Andhra Pradesh. No. They said, sir, their production per day will come down to 20%. Who is bothered about it? I am bothered about the health. I am bothered about the dust. Let him produce 80% and take that as an 100% production per day. Our pollution control board officers are so kind and sympathetic to industry, not to the human health. And one secret I would like to share with you people is All the pollution control boards, state pollution control boards are established under Societies Act. They do not have any sanctity as a government department to uh, control this. Okay. So there are several recoverable products what we can do and develop, all these things. And this is Asanikunta Bolaram IDE. You see, in morning hours I was called, you see the haze gray color here. The volatile gases were coming out of this lake. And this material behaved like a degraded bitumen. As a crazy man, you see the Bolaram industrial estate, backs. And I did a small experiment. I manufactured from this industrial sludge the cladding tiles. And I got inspiration. I was harassed. I was harassed by none other than the collector Medak in those days. That your experiments are crazy, this and that. US federal government, it sponsored a beautiful project called the Great Lakes Experiment. They took 14 lakes and came out with several wide range of environment-friendly products. Why we are not taking up this? Okay, all these are from the industrial sludge, and this is done by NCBM, National Council for Building and Cement Research Institute, Ballabgarh, near Delhi. They have used Fuji butan, an inorganic binder. You see, the basic principle is we should not allow the toxic material to disperse in the nature. So you need a binder to hold it. So that is a basic principle. Why can't we develop inorganic binders in this direction? Huh? Now today you have what is called the green chemistry also. These are all from the dam sludge, dam and river sludge. And our people say, "Arey, where do we dump, sir? You dump it at your backyard." When science and technology developed so much, and these are all the experiments did by a institute under Government of India at Vallabhgarh. And unfortunately, the CSIR labs also doesn't share information across the institute and also to the user group. And the municipal corporations, they call such scientists for one day and they celebrate all these things in a 5-star hotel. Raat gayi baat. This is the Fiji butan stabilized, they laid their internal roads with industrial solid waste. This experiment was conducted in 2002 and I invited the scientists from this institute and they made a presentation in ASCII, Administrative Staff College of India, in 2004. This is road construction using Fiji butan and industry. So we should understand. See, today you have eco-cities. Today you have ISO 9000 for municipality. But where are we heading? Are we looking into it? Are we aiming for a livable cities? And what kind of protect the planet and protect the humanity? Thank you so much. There are several ways to do it, but thing is, we are not using even the fly ash for road. Outer ring road, regional ring road. Why virgin soils? Why we are breaking all the hills around us? There should be a debate for this. What kind of an alternative construction material can be utilized? We should have a perfect, a healthy academic debate, research and pilot projects so that we can come up with an alternative constructive building materials in this direction. As we can, provided we have the willpower, provided we have the fire in our heart to make the policymakers listen to us, follow our advice. Thank you so much.
Just I would like to add
Please, Anna.
to one or two points. Actually, after 1984 Bhopal gas disaster, when the subject of protection of environment came to occupy a primordial position in the agendas of the general public in this country, the people who became conscious of the negative manifestations of industrialization, they took up the struggles. For example, in Hyderabad, it started in Sarvanagar, Nacharam, Didimatra, and Patancheru. And people like us, Dr. Kishan Rao, M.C. Mehta, we filed so many cases and we were always continuously winning. In spite of our victories in the court orders were not implemented by the chief secretaries. And so far, the chief secretary of earlier Andhra Pradesh and now Telangana, they have hundreds of cases, contempt cases against the chief secretaries. But the chief secretary thinks he is above the constitution. And even the Supreme Court and High Court probably respect his opinion. As a result, the chief secretary is untouched. Whenever the government wanted to go in for something which the government thought it was development, but for the people it appeared to be destruction. For example, 1 year after the Chernobyl accident occurred in April 1986, and in 1987 the government of India wanted to locate a nuclear power plant at Nagarjunasagar. Thanks to Professor Shivaji Rao, Dr. Gopal and myself, we all came together and we were supported by about 22 citizen groups, and we were able to sensitize the public, create public opinion, and we could stop it. That is, we could stop the unfolding of another Chernobyl at Nagarjunasagar. But that was with the public pressure, not with, nobody went to the court. We didn't have that. Similarly, recently as 2 years ago, the government once again wanted to go in for uranium mining at Nallamala. People took up that case, they opposed it, and they stopped it. So what is the lesson? The lesson is when people come forward, when they express their opinion in a very decisive manner, they will definitely succeed. Earlier also, we were able to get irrigation canal in Nalgonda, thanks to that wonderful Jalasadhana movement and the biggest ballot paper. In the case of Patancheru, we won about 40 orders. The matter went to NGT Chennai. They have given orders, and now there is a big stalemate. Everybody knows. It is not that the government doesn't know. Central government knows, state government knows. Everybody knows. Judiciary also knows because they have given 40 orders. NGT knows, they have given orders. But nothing happens in Patancheru. See, if this is the attitude of the legislature, executive and judicial, what respect or faith the people will have in the constitution? I think the time has come for the government and political parties to introspect. Yes, they are accountable. They forget that. and they need to introspect, and they are accountable to the people. Otherwise, they have to be very clear for whose sake is the constitution. Is it to ensure that the rich become richer? Is the Constitution of India working in favor of the corporates? In fact, it is very clear in the directive principles that the entire economic activity of the government of India, under the Constitution, the entire country's economic activity will be operated in such a manner that it shall not result in the accumulation of wealth in the hands of the few. But in reality, it goes contrary to the provisions of the Constitution. I think we, the people, we need to think. All academicians, they need to think. The media has to once again become active. I don't see the kind of media which we witnessed in the 80s and 90s. That media has evaporated. Today, hardly 5% or 10% media supports the public. And the remaining, they are happy serving the corporates. I don't understand when we purchase a paper like the Hindu, which is supposed to be a standard paper, and you want to go through the pages in news, the first page itself, advertisement, second page, advertisement, third, sometimes festival time, at least 6 pages are there. I mean, what is the logic of that? Then they can as well call it as a paper full of advertisements. Why they call it as a newspaper? Somewhere this introspection has to take place. And even all the print media, of course I'm not touching the electronic media because they are only playing to the tunes of the film and nothing beyond. They are not bothered what happens about, about Bhopal or nuclear or uranium mining or the quality of water that flows in the rivers of this country. Which paper is committed? And what is the impact? Even NGT, I think we need to make an evaluation of the working of the NGT. The original purpose of NGT was to create a mechanism which will be able to attend to which will be able to go to the rescue of the poorest of the poor, the marginalized and the pollution affected people in the quickest possible time. I'm very sorry to say that cases are, even my own case, my students are filed in regarding Mosi. What happened? What is the big message NGT wants to give to the people? And for the entire country, you have one facility in Delhi and 2 or 3 elsewhere for a population of 130 crores, where every department of the government is working only to destroy. I mean, is it not practical? Can't they think that they need to open NGT in every state? Or at least where the industrial areas are there? I mean, this is a very, very serious lacuna. Justice is not only denied, but justice is not flowing to the people. We are getting judgments, but it is not converting into justice. Justice delivery is not there. Very sorry, all of us, we need to introspect and once again restore the working of democracy in this country. Shiva?
Yeah, no, I think it's wonderful hearing both of you. That's what I said. I wanted to listen. And there is one comment. Titanic incident became world famous, but the Bhopal incident is the biggest tragedy in the world. But no one is aware of this, even in India. I think that type of Psych, I
It
think
is
will
not
go
that
away.
nobody is aware that the people in this country, they have withdrawn. It became a world news. Lot of civil society groups have worked on it. But again, what is the stamina of the civil society groups? How long can they fight?
Right.
Particularly in a system which closes doors on the justice deliveries. Everything is delayed. What is the stamina of the people of this country to continuously wage a battle for their common future? We don't have the kind of stamina that exists in the civil society of America, where the people contribute for the cause.
Yes.
Nobody should be a beggar. Protection of environment is everybody's duty. In India, we only appreciate, acha kar raha kaam. But they don't send at least 10 rupees. If 1 crore people send 10 rupees, it becomes 10 crores. And 10 rupees is not a big amount for anybody. A simple, small contributions, drop by drop, if it is sent to the activists who are working for a particular cause, then they will be able to take it further. Because it requires a lot of legal luminaries, lot of travel, lot of struggle. So the culture of contributing for the common cause, I think that needs to be created in this country in a more effective manner, in a very transparent manner. Otherwise, people will collect money, and again, thereby there will be a scandal in it. We don't want that kind of.
Yeah, as you
The thing
rightly
is,
said.
as you rightly pointed out, Bay Area in San Francisco. Part of it was, Ronald Reagan attracted property, and he had the plans of constructing 7-star hotels there. It's a public property under the federal law. One lady, 3 months, struggled, went around, pooled money, bought the land in auction, and declared it as a wilderness zone.
Yeah, that's a
That is
great
the
thing.
thing we
That's
should
the-
learn from America. It is not that, pizzas and burgers. The hopeless Indians who are going to America, they are not coming out with these stories. They want to come again, do some business on technology transfers. That was a marvelous contribution by that lady. We need to learn a lot of things, but the thing is, I wonder, you see, globalization has totally failed when it comes to environment and pollution aspects of it. So everybody is talking on all these things. And today, I cannot even discuss across the continent to get thoughts and solidarity for a cause. Then why this globalization? Is globalization only for the corporates to make more money? How do we share? How do a common man in India can share with the thoughts of an African? How do we re-strengthen our voice at the global platforms? Everything is abolished. Anything you talk, the land encroachers, the lake encroachers are not anti-nationalists.
They are.
Then why the government is so good to those guys? Put them behind the bar, hang them. We are talking the facts and figures before the people. Government, if it is sincere, it has to at least listen to the people and start acting on it. Globalization has deprived, backstabbed the common man's aspiration.
Yeah, I have one last point, Shiva. I was going through the speeches of Yuval Noah Harari. clearly mentions in the contemporary world, there are three major issues which cannot be tackled at the national level. No country in the world can tackle it. One, nuclear disasters or nuclear war. Two, climate change. Not one single country can do it alone. And the third biggest thing is that technological disruption. He's talking about the kind of merger of the infotech and the biotech and its consequences in the days to come. The rise of the artificial intelligence and its widespread application, and the possible creation of a useless class worldwide. To address these things, it is not possible for any country, whether it is China or Russia or America, India, nothing. One single country cannot tackle it. That is why the citizens of the world, forget the governments. Governments are always, they are the slaves of the corporates. No government in the world is working for the people. They are simply the running dogs of the corporates. At least the citizens, they need to come together. They need to learn to make a common cause. Because this is the only planet where life is possible. In such a situation, all of us need to introspect, and we, the people living on the planet, we need to come together because, if not for our present generation, for the future generations. Yes. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tomorrow you have retelecast of this on environment people at 11 a.m. Indian Standard Time. And before we say bye to you, you had so many queries. Yes, we will. Hyderabad has got natural forest cover. How it is being destroyed is a classical example of every state, every capital city in India or a town in India. Vast forest cover. Now they have started in that area trying to go for metro rail, and along with that, who has bought vast acres of land. So the concrete jungles are going to happen in that area. Again, you have seen Patancheru, GD Metla, even Chautupal, and even series here in Nagol, Kotapet area, Dilsuknagar area, how it has, these industries, pharma or other, have destroyed both the ground, water or the air. Both have become polluted in a big way. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Today I got news. The Krishna rivers, backwaters of Srisalem Dam,
Yeah.
they are getting contaminated with algal growth.
Baba.
This is not the first time that a river system is getting affected. But
Shame.
Krishna,
It's a shame.
it is happening time and again.
Yeah.
Maybe the untreated sewage from several places
Right.
may be joining it.
Right.
So we are adding pollution in new dimensions,
Yeah.
but we are totally failing in addressing even a small issue.
Wonderful.
It's an unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. That's why we are trying to point out Hyderabad as a case study, and you have many other cities. Already destruction happens in one area. They pollute right from water to air, as being witnessed in Patancheru, GD Metla, Chautupal to Bongir, and here in Dilsuknagar, Kotapet area series. Now they are trying to do away with the forest area in this eastern and western parts of Hyderabad. They are trying to connect metro, and along with that, who has purchased vast acres of land. That is going to disappear. That means the lung space, such a beautiful forest cover of Hyderabad, is being destroyed by the concrete jungle in the form of real estates to pamper a few selfish minds and to become neo-rich, and they are going to fund the political parties. Irony is, now all these political parties' electoral bonds are not at all transparent, not at all accountable, and not only that, Medapalli to Mucherla, now another such a beautiful vast forest cover. They breathe fresh air. All sarpanchas have won, stating that we don't want big pharma city here. Now even that is being polluted. These governments, whether it is TRS government here or the central government, all the political parties, opposition, right from Congress to Mamata Banerjee party, what is development? And development is in whose interest? That is a big, big question, fundamental question now. If you are polluting, if you are removing forest cover, destroying that symbiosis of ecological existence and having clean water to breathe clean air or fresh air, if you are destroying even after pandemic, if you are not learning, then people have to come out on the roads, because until and unless you do that, nothing can change these political parties, administrators, and their pampered so-called corporates, as he rightly pointed out now, transnational corporations or something. They are doing it for their own good, and ultimately we have to live here, we have to breathe that air, and we have to drink that water, and through that water they cultivate, and those vegetables and fruits in and around Hyderabad. Just imagine the type of pollution, and as he rightly said, it is destroyed lakes, all polluted, including right from Hussain Sagar to every lake. Now they are not even leaving rivers and backwaters of rivers. Then how can we survive? That is why on this day, let us all revive the spirit that it is for our existence. We need to come out on the roads and protest. Not only that, Dr. TSPR channels connect from people from wherever they are. At least you be in your locality, have a data card, connect to us, we beam it live. Like that, from every area, we can start protesting. Once you start protesting, whether it is administrator, politician, or the pampered industrialist, they will all will run away. That is the message from this show. And do watch this retelecast tomorrow on Environment People at 11 a.m. Thanks, Anna. Thanks a lot. Take care for all the Indians. Sukha Nidra Shubharatri for the world over. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's a wake up call for you. Whether you have to live or you have to destroy yourselves. It is in your hands, in your minds.
Please do not advise Indians to sleep. They are already Kumbhakarnas. Okay.
That this is a big
You
message.
delete that message. You delete that message.
That message is taken back. Now you wake up. It's a wake up call. Otherwise, it will be a doomsday, as we have already been pointing out with all the evidences. It will reach your home. Believe me, it will reach your home. And as been pointed out, all these corporates will run away to other country, as is being witnessed. Otherwise, why will they indulge in such a huge environmental destruction? Just think, if these corporates and their families, they want to survive in India, don't you think that even they have their own onerous responsibility? Why are they indulging? They want to loot these natural resources at the cost of suffering of the entire Indian populace, and they will run away. Do you want that scene to happen? Think. That is why wake up call for you all on this day. And Bhopal gas tragedy, we should remember. Remember for all. That should awaken us as it has awakened our gurus. Thank you. Take care.